Hi, angels. Today you are going to begin reading Once Upon a Time by Nadine Gordimer. Um, Before you read, I want to go over these things called signposts. Some of you may have heard of them, some of you may not have. They're super easy. They're things that you already think about. This is just drawing your attention to it and letting you focus on it a little bit more when you're reading a story. And you hear them in real life too, situations all the time. So we're going to go over signposts really quickly. I have posted this document on your Schoology page, so you have access to it. There's also another one that goes more in depth. This one is prettier and kind of gives you pictures for visual learners, but the other one does give specific examples and go more in depth if you really don't understand one of these. You may also reach out to me and get help, or you can even Google this. It's very, very common, taught many places. There are some really good examples of signposts out there. Okay, so the first signpost we're going to talk about is called an aha moment. Okay, so you'll probably hear this a lot. As teachers, we like to live for aha moments. And that basically means when you discover something, you're like, aha, the little light bulb goes off in your head. That's where it comes from. That's where the name comes from. So, in a story, an aha moment is when a character suddenly realizes or understands or finally figures something out. So, if you're reading a mystery and they've been trying to figure out who the murderer is and they just found a clue, and someone finally, that moment you've been waiting for, pieces it together, and look on their face where they're like, because they just discovered who the murderer is. That's an aha moment. So you would just mark down. We're going to do some different creative ways when we annotate. It's easier on paper, so I'm going to try to find a way we can do it digitally. I may have you do it on paper and then take pictures of it later. That's all for later. Nothing you need to worry about right now. But I really like doing forms of note-taking using symbols. So if you see an aha moment in your reading, you can just draw a little light bulb next to it. Okay. Next, you may learn something about the conflict or theme. Like I said, it's usually revealing something big, right? Okay, next is words of the wiser. That is when a character, typically older and wiser, doesn't have to be, sometimes they'll have a character who's just really smart and just a really calm, not typical character. That is kind of the word of wisdom there, the really smart one. When a character takes another character aside and gives serious advice. Okay, hey, you're not going down the right path. Here's what you need to do. We see these people in real life all the time. Our grandparents, our parents, teachers. I have so many people that I look up to, and I just, please pull me to the side and give me advice because I don't know what I'm doing out here in life. Okay, what's the life lesson and how might it affect the character? So whenever you see these, make sure you're still asking yourself the question. You're not just going to be like, oh, words of the wiser. You're going to be like, oh, words of the wiser, so this must be important, because you wouldn't just put someone giving advice into a story if it was unnecessary. That's not an unnecessary detail you typically include. So whatever they have to say in literature, particularly, will be very, very important. So if you're reading a story where a character is just going down the wrong path and their parents pull them aside and they're like, if you don't stop, let's say they're doing drugs, okay, something awful. If you don't stop, this will kill you. That's very important. Why? Because typically it's probably foreshadowing if an author uses that. That person's going to die, or they're going to make a major life change because someone is telling them this is important and you're doing it wrong, okay? Or it doesn't have to be that intense, right? Hey, I think here's a good way to do it, or here's some life advice. Always spend time with your loved ones, and you can sleep when you're dead, and all the other good life advice they tell us. Oh, no. Okay. Sorry. Moving on. Contrast and contradiction. When a character says or does something that's opposite or contradicts what he or she has been saying or doing. Okay. So again, you're not just going to identify this, you're going to ask yourself, why? Why is the character doing that? Why did they change their mind all of a sudden? Did they go through something that makes them think differently now? Was it too hard to do it the way they wanted to do it? Did they have a plan that they thought was good in their mind, but in real life it just wasn't, they weren't able to? It can help you make a prediction or an inference about the plot or the conflict. So it's going to tell you, if we're shifting gears here, if we're doing something we're talking with our mouths but doing something else with our actions, then there's some sort of disconnect. Either the character is changing or behaving like two different people and something is up, right? So those are very important to pay attention to. Memory moment. This is essentially a flashback. In the middle of a story, often authors will just go back to something they're talking about. So a memory moment is when they interrupt what is going on now to tell you about something that's already happened in the past. Why is it important? And why are they telling it now? Okay, so that's an important one because authors will strategically place these, right? If a character, let's say they hear a gunshot and they stop and freeze up or something, and you're trying to figure out why they're freezing up, and all of a sudden there's a memory moment, a flashback to a scene in which that character had been in war, and maybe they have PTSD. I know that's an extreme example, but it's a good example. I've read books like that where authors will use memory moments to explain why the sound of a gunshot affected that character or why something sent them back. So they'll wait until that moment and then they'll give you a flashback of the time that they had something traumatic happen that brought that back. Okay, so those can be very important. You can learn about the theme, the conflict, or foreshadowing. All right, that may happen again in the future. Again and again. This is the easiest one. It's repetition. When a word, a phrase, an object, a situation, literally anything repeats itself, it's mentioned multiple times, there is a reason. Okay? Your author, even if you're watching a movie, when they write scripts, they are not going to keep repeating something or have something come up multiple times unless it is very, very significant. So pay close attention to again and agains because that means it's going to tell you something about the theme, conflict, foreshadowing, like something is important. All right. And the last one, tough questions. When the character asks himself or herself a very difficult question, what does the question make you wonder? Why are they asking themselves this? You'll learn about the conflict, make predictions. You could also foreshadow, like, are they asking themselves, why am I so nervous about today? And then something bad happens. Or I'm so excited today. I know it's going to be a good day. And then something great happens. Sorry, I'm using so many negative examples. Those are just tend to be the most dramatic moments. So they're the ones we remember most, right? So all of these are pretty simple. You can access them here. You can do your own research. This is just a black and white copy. I don't know why it does it in both. And they're all on the Schoology page for you, like I said. So you're going to begin reading Once Upon a Time and look for these. I just wanted to give you some background on what they actually were. I want you to do, and it's got things for you to do throughout. So it's setting a purpose. You'll watch this little video. Language conventions, that just means grammar. Don't let language conventions, the title, scare you. This talking about prepositional phrases which we talked about yesterday. Remember, preposition is something near, on, at, under, behind, away from, close to, things like that. So if you have, let me just work through this one with you. Highlight two prepositional phrases in paragraph 3. Okay. A voice echo in the chamber of the subconscious. All right. So already a voice echo, or a voice where? Where is the voice? It's in the echo chamber. Okay. In the echo chamber of what? Did that work? Yes. Of the subconscious. Okay, so where is it in relation to? It's of it. I know that sounds weird because, like I said, we like to do distance, but it's in the echo chamber of the subconscious. That's how it relates to the subconscious. Okay, so look how easy that was. And that's just that simple sentence had two right there in it. Okay, so you're going to highlight those. What information do these provide? Tells you where, okay, and it tells you what of. All right, so what of in relation to the voice. Okay, and that's as simple as that. Okay, I'll count that right. I need a simple answer from you, okay? Annotate, highlight words and phrases in paragraph 6 that tells how the author feels at this point. What mood did these create? Now remember, tone is what the author puts forth that makes you feel some type of way, all right? So if I come back and you've been bad for the sub and I use this tone with you, do you think I'm happy? No, I'm not, right? You can tell by my tone that I am not happy. And that puts you in a bad mood because you're about to get chewed out, right? All right, so tone comes from the author. Mood is the feelings that you get from the author. So, what mood does it create? So, we're going to go back and look, how does the author feel at this point in the story? All right, so you're going to look in here. I learned that I was to be neither threatened nor spared. Da, da, da. Okay, so you're going to look through, figure out the tone. I'm actually not going to answer this one for you because you only have a few more before I want you to stop. After 10, you're going to answer this analyze, setting, and theme. You're going to answer that question, and then you are finished for today, okay? We're going to finish reading tomorrow. Tomorrow, you will start with paragraph 11. You're going to read all the way through, and then, not sure where we went. There we go, all the way through 18 and answer that question, and that is the end of the story, okay? Tomorrow, you will finish it. Today, you're just looking for these. Okay, good luck. Let me know if you need help.